Okay, so Haley Van Voorhis is a junior free safety at Shenandoah College, which is a D3 college. And she became the first female non kicker to participate in a live game. And what we have is we have the breakdown, we have the actual video of the play that she did. And so I want to kind of take a look at it and really break this down because it's a great breakthrough for sports, for all sports, I believe. Now, there's going to be a lot of question to it. Does this open the door for more women to play in football, especially at a collegiate level? I don't necessarily believe that it does, but I still think that it opens a door that at least it allows a conversation to be had. But I think with that, it's going to open some other conversations as well. So I have my eyes like on my screen right now and I'm looking at it. So I want to kind of look at this and talk about it real time. So at free safety, she's covering a large portion of the field at free safety. You're basically the last line of defense. It's not the easiest position to play for sure, but I think it's also a position that play in, play out, it keeps you from having to maintain contact. So at 5'6", about 145 pounds, I would say that's probably the position that you would want to play if you're a non-kicker, possibly cornerback, but even that has a lot of physical activity to it, play in, play out. So let's just go with it. What they did is they walked her down and she is on the defensive line. So now she's no longer further back away from the action. She's right up on the line. And when they snap the ball, let me see if I got this going. When they snap the ball, she comes off. And what they did is they put her on the side where there was no offensive line presence. So the offensive lineman that she was kind of lined up over already had an assignment to block, which was a defensive lineman on Haley's team. So she ran free directly to the quarterback. The quarterback stepped back, he made his read and he made his throw. He knew exactly where he was going at because most of the time when the free safety blitzes from one space, you run to that open space and you have a reception. So they got about what looks like be about maybe about a 5 yard gain out of it. And she grabbed the quarterback, kind of spun him down, threw him down. Um, that's about the best play that I think that you could put somebody in that position, and not just because she's female, but if you're just talking about smaller players, really what that does is it just forces the play to accelerate. So if you can get somebody who's fast enough, just run them at the quarterback, and it becomes a threat to the quarterback to get rid of the ball faster. The quarterback was composed. He made his throw, and I think that all around it was a good play on both sides. Um, Now, had the defense lined her up and the offense had a running back in the backfield whose assignment was to chip the free safety, she would have met with a lot of contact before even getting to the quarterback. That's if she got to the quarterback. And I'm always going to say if, possibly, because this is football. It's not a gender conversation at this point. But because we are talking about her, if she got to the quarterback, she would have had to have fought through a running back who is much larger, I'm guessing, than 5'6", 145 pounds. So you do have your pick and choose moments if you're going to have a historic moment like this. And I don't see anything wrong with that. It would have been better than putting her against somebody where she would have gotten hurt, because in sports and football, we know that injuries are inherently part of the game, but you also don't want people to get hurt. You want people to get through the game relatively unscathed. Now, do you want to put that pounding on them? Do you want to make them feel like they've been in a game? Do you want to like beat them in a physical way, in a football way? Absolutely. That's why you're out there. You're out there to compete. So good on her for being out there to compete. I did look up her stats, and it was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and this is no slight or anything, but it was all zeros. It was like one game played, but there was no tackles, no solo tackles, no nothing. She had really had nothing to her stat line, and there's nothing wrong with that. She made the team. If you are on a college team of any sport, congratulations, because this is not easy. And if you are doing it in a groundbreaking fashion, even better. So this is not to put her down or the accomplishment. It's just to frame it for what it is. So I do like the play that they ran her on. I don't know if she got any other play time as far as being in the game anymore, but I think that that's a good place to start. Now, would you put your daughter in competitive, high level contact sports, whether it was football? Let's say it's football, because we're talking about against the male gender. I personally would not for my daughters. I think that not that they have a lane to stay in particularly, but I just know that right now, being early on, this is still not molded to put in. It's not even meant for weaker men in a lot of instances. And so you may have stronger women, that's fine. If they can compete, that's fine. But really truly compete, play in, play out, because it is a team sport and one person's presence matters on a team because you have a limited roster. So one person does matter. And I don't know her story, but I did see that the other free safety on her team, her teammate, is 6'2", 205 pounds. So these aren't smaller athletes just because it's a smaller school. This is still a college level that they are playing at. So I don't know what her what how she got in, what the high school background was. I didn't go that far back, but again, it's still a pretty cool thing to go into. Again, I would not put my daughters into something like that. And there's other things like women's collegiate. Uh, what's the one with the little nets on the stick? You guys will know it, and they run up and down the field. But they were prohibited from actually having lacrosse. They were actually prohibited from having helmets, and there were some girls that had some real long-term damage because of that. So there's danger in all areas. But I think that this is just uncharted because you're talking about playing against men and or stronger athletes in that sense. Now, the question that I had: does this change at all the topic of trans men playing in women's sports? Because if we're going to see women entering into men's sports, does it open the door to have that conversation the other way to say, hey, they are willing to compete against men who are not going under hormonal changes, psychological changes, physical changes as far as surgically? So do the men who are in the trans state, do they get to, now having taken hormones and going through all the changes, do they get to openly compete against women? What are your thoughts on this? What's your ace up the sleeve advice, comment, experience? This might be a touchy subject, so please think it through before you put some stuff and you're outraged and all this and that. It's just a conversation to be had, and I think it's an interesting one because this is groundbreaking. So guys, hopefully this finds everybody in a fantastic place, and we will talk to you very soon. Peace, love, unity, solidarity.